So then, what did you do after finishing in effect mode? What were you doing?
Andre Harrell had a girl group called the Gyrlz.
Oh yes, yes.
Yes,
Everyone asks about the girls. T.
yes.
Okay.
Terry Robinson and Tara Jeter and Monica Payne, and
Yes.
they were signed to Uptown Capital, and they Andre was like, get to it, get to that, get this project going, and they wound up singing background to Al B. Sure on his tour. So that was another rush job of an album, and just so that they can be ready to go out on tour. But
Oh,
that's exactly what I got into right after In Effect Mode.
what did you think happened that the girls didn't really? I mean, they had one or two singles out there, but it just didn't really blow up like at that time.
Yeah, I to this day I don't know. I don't know. They're really talented songwriters and singers. They were one of the first girl groups, especially East Coast, to do the hip hop. And I don't know. We could point blame everywhere, but they
Mm,
definitely deserved to be bigger than they were, no doubt.
yeah. But you also did stuff for Finesse the Sequence.
Yes, yes. Uh, being a staff producer, signed to Andre, and he said, "Look, I want you to do this. I want you to do rap." I said, "I don't do rap. I don't know how to do rap." And here comes Eddie F in. Eddie said, I'm doing half this, I'm doing half of these records anyway. I'll walk you through it. And a lot of the records had that kind of hip hop R&B anyway, so I had to play. And then we did a rap ballad, which Monica Payne sang on from the Gyrlz. So
Yeah.
those girls are really good too. They were sweet. I mean, they're grown women now, but they were they were so much fun to work with and so talented. But yep, Eddie F was able to help me out, dealing
Okay.
with rap. Yeah.
Were you then starting to get a lot more comfortable in the studio on your own, or did you still need hand holding as
Well, I wouldn't say hand holding, but direction. No, by what I didn't really do any more rap after that. But yes, because now I have my own studio. So I had all the keyboard technology now that I had, at the tip of my fingers. I learned,
mm,
plus everybody else was on the road anyway. But yeah, I definitely felt after the first I'll Be Sure album, now I'm in. Now I feel comfortable. I feel more confident as a musician, as a producer, as a leader. By 89, 90 at all, it definitely, yeah, I felt comfortable.
okay. And so the so after he goes on the road, does Warner push you guys to get the second album out? Because you go triple platinum. Do they say, come on, we need to get you back in the studio?
Yes, yes. I distinctly remember Andre Harrell because I was still signed to Uptown. So having those meetings with Andre Harrell, and I'll be sure on the road. So coming in and playing him records and getting the vibe, the direction. And one thing I learned from Andre Harrell was that second album is supposed to be bigger than the first.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be a continuation of the first album. So it's very, very important. But excuse me, I just feel I was being pulled in so many different directions, as an artist and these phone lines and all these other things. And it wasn't fair to him because we weren't able to focus like we did and spend time like we did on the first album. We weren't able to do that. But it just because he got so big, but
Oh.
second album, and then, and then between the labels, between Uptown and Warner Brothers, one hand didn't know what the other hand was doing. And then, Al B. Sure had to pay for it. But yeah, that was supposed to be the even bigger album, that second album.
Yeah, it's because in Nigeria, Misunderstanding was a massive hit for us. Still one of my favorite. But and I know Eddie did that track. But we were surprised that, especially in 1990, when Keith and everyone else was going up, that it didn't even go platinum. So
yeah, we don't know to this day. We don't know what happened. Records were there, promotion, and it just, and it took a long time to make that album. It took us a good, maybe close to a year to really get that going. And I just felt that we didn't have the time to concentrate and focus like we had. I was doing other projects. B.Sure was, helping with Jodeci and going on tour. We didn't have the time, to do what we needed to do on that second album.
So you didn't get involved with Jodeci?
No, I did writing with Casey Haley. We actually had the Haley brothers help us with Tevin Campbell's project, but I didn't. Devontae was another genius, and he's just an incredible talent, and he had that ready to go. And B.Sure came in and took care of this and made it sound professional. But no, didn't need me on that. Those four young men had that all taken care of.
Yeah, but then because I know you did stuff with Tevin Campbell. Was that stuff from your first album that you guys gave him, and then?
No. You know what? I remember that it was a weekend. We came up with those. We did 5 records. We demoed 5 records real quick. We brought in Casey and JoJo Haley, to come in and help with the melodies and stuff and do some backgrounds. And Al had everything written. And literally, Nnamdi, I'll be sure, we got the master tapes, jumped on a plane and went to Benny Medina's house. And Benny Medina ran Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
And we said, listen to these records. And Benny Medina was like, go.
So did you fly to LA to see Benny Medina, or were you?
No, it was just, these records are done, let's go. Benny, he didn't call us, nothing. We just, it was Al. Al just, go, we going out there, and we went to his house and said, you need these records. And Benny was like, those are great, go record them,
Wow.
We picked Tevin up from school, so we could get to the studio early, So that's how we really believed in those records and his talent. Someone that talented at that age.
Yeah.
It's like, oh no, we got to make sure we get on something like this.
You also did stuff with Ralph Tresvant on his debut album.
Yes. The late great Louis Silas Jr. He was the A&R man, and he came to New York. I remember he was in New York, and I was up at the office, and he wanted some tracks. And he gave me the tracks, and then I get a call from Ralph, and Ralph says, oh, I wrote something, listen to this. And he's singing on the phone, and I'm like, there we go. It's a good record. Could have been stronger records to kind of fit into what Jimmy and Terry were doing and what Ellie and Face were doing. But hey, that's Ralph Tresvant. He's a legend, and I could have been a little tighter with the records, but big thrill to be on a project with those producers and that artist.
Yeah, had you met Jimmy and Terry by this time? Because now you got a track on the same album that they have, Sensitivity and stuff.
I met Terry. I met Terry in Japan, and then I would run into him, at times, but I didn't meet Jimmy yet. So to this day, Terry is, every time I see Terry, it's like a party. I love Terry Lewis, just a warm and humble, talented man. But I met Face in LA that same year. So I felt I was on that level, but when it was time to get the records going, I'm like, oh man, I didn't come with my A game. I'll say that 30 years later. I didn't keep up, and You know, I got love for Ralph. We still email each other. We did a record recently, well, a few years ago, but I could have brought him some stronger material on that album.
Oh goodness!
Mhm.
Did you? Well, how did you meet Terry in Japan? What was he doing there?
Um, he let me see. I don't want to tell anybody about his business. Oh, but no, he was with Karen
Karen?
White. Yes,
Okay, I was gonna say because I know, yeah, 'cause I've interviewed Karen, so I knew they were married at the time, and she was
yes,
touring in Japan. So I was just wondering that how come he didn't see, because it's very rare to see the two of them support apart. So he would have been
true.
supporting his wife. Okay.
And yes, they were. I'll be sure and Karen White were on the same show.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah.
we
Oh
traveled.
yeah,
We
yeah, yes.
traveled together. Yes,
Okay,
and
okay,
that's when
yeah.
I first met Terry. Yes.
Okay, okay. Did you just say, "Hey Terry, I'm Carl. I did the Albie show." So how did you?
Oh no. So interesting because Karen was Warner Brothers. She kind of knew me and Al. She knew Al, and then
Yeah.
she actually introduced me to Terry. And then
Oh
Terry was
yes.
warm and Terry was nice, and that was the first time I met him. And I just saw him, 3 months ago, and it was like a party.
Well,
So from
yeah.
that one meeting, 30 something years later, he's still a good guy. He's a really good guy.
Did you ever meet Jimmy then? Because
I
because
met I Yes, I just met Jimmy. I just met him.
oh, just
Just met him. Yeah, not too long ago. All these
because
years, I always see Terry, but not Jimmy.
because
So
Jimmy is the you and Terry's the owl because Terry's the writer and then Jimmy's the
absolutely. And Terry's a great bass player,
oh yes,
but
yeah.
yeah, Jimmy's the studio guy. And I let him know how much respect I have for his work, and I let him know that. When I met him, hey man, I'm a student. I'm a student. I'm one of your students. So it was a big thrill to meet
Wow.
Terry, Jimmy Jam.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for being part of the Halftime Chat community. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. But most importantly, why don't you consider being a member? That's a way of supporting the channel, but also getting a lot of videos ahead of time, a lot of behind the scenes stuff, and some exclusive content that doesn't get shared. But anyway, thanks for watching and thanks for being part of Halftime Chat.
Sweet.